oil and gas news for Anambra State in southeastern Nigeria. Anambra is to start benefiting from a 13% derivation once proceeds from oil wells in the state start contributing to the Federation account, according to the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. In a letter to the governor of the state, Chief Willie Obiano, the RMAC informed him of its approval at its 139th plenary session held on the 27th of July. Joining us to discuss all these stories, Mayowa Ige, Analyst with Financial Derivatives Company Limited. Mayowa, you're very welcome. Good morning to you. Let's start with Anambra. Good news. What do you make of the letter that the RMAC sent to the governor?
Hello, Rotis. Thank you for having me. I think that it's great news, considering that Anambra has been working over the years to stop relying totally on federal allocation. And then in the past 4 to 5 years, we've seen them grow their internal revenue by how many percent, from 17 billion in 2016 to about 28 billion in 2020. So it's a good news, it's additional revenue. And then we see that it's only going to encourage more revenue generation in the state and possibly encourage other states to also increase their own revenue and look for ways and sources of increasing their revenue.
Great stuff. Let's get to the Central Bank and this letter from the CBN to the banks. How do we get here?
Well, we got here. Central Bank banned forex sales directly to BDCs. And why did they do it? They had two reasons, or they cited two reasons. They said, number one, the BDCs were hoarding, round-tripping on forex sales, and then they were driving the prices of foreign exchange on the parallel market. And they also claimed that the BDCs were serving as conduits for illegal forex activities and graft. And so they came up with this policy. But then you see, while we look at it and say, oh, maybe the CBN actually wasn't bad in what they did, because you look at it, Nigeria is maybe the only country still selling directly to BDCs, right? But the thing is, when you look at the situation, you have root cause analysis, you have the root cause, and you have symptoms or minor problems that have come up as a result of the particular root cause. And so what the central bank has done here is they haven't addressed the root cause of the issue. They've only addressed the minor issue. And this issue came up because of the root cause. And the root cause here is forex scarcity. We have a shortage of supply. We have demand outweighing supply. And this should have been addressed first. So what the federal CBN has just done is what we call reallocation. They have just taken from B and given to A. They've increased the allocation to commercial banks rather by about 200%, and they have not increased supply.
So I guess who does the increase in supply? Who does that responsibility fall on? Who would you say?
You said the government is the central bank, yes.
But as far as, I mean, so since that has been put in place now, have you assessed things since they moved over to the commercial bank?
We've seen the Naira weaken, especially at the parallel market. Now you have the Naira trading to about 525, I think this morning, to the dollar. And then parallel markets almost revolving around the same rate, 411, 412, just moving around that. And you've seen also the central bank coming up with different policies, or what should I say? They banned they froze rather the bank accounts of 4 fintech companies because they were offering dollar-denominated investments to citizens. And then you also have them banning microfinance banks from engaging in forex transactions. And also recently they came out with the guidelines for the Naira. So they've come up with different things that still seem to be them trying to control the distribution of forex.
Right. So my question was, as far as this, so what's the solution here? If the root cause is the supply, how do we increase the supply of foreign exchange coming into Nigeria?
We need to export more. That's number one. We have agric, we have things we're growing. We need to export. And for us to export, yes, there's the value chain down the line also. As opposed to just exporting cocoa, we can actually start having our chocolate, as opposed to exporting mangoes. We can have dried mangoes. We have many things we can actually do with our commodities here and also export. So we need to diversify our economy, increase our export. And also, when you look at drivers of the Naira, you have oil price, you have production, you also have trade. Yes, we have remittances, you have FPIs also involved. There are things that drive the value of the Naira. And so we have the oil production doing well, oil prices doing well. We have balance of trade deficit reducing. These are good things, but we still have the issue of external reserves declining. We have issues of remittances and FPIs. We need to increase also our remittances, what we get in the country, our FPIs. We need to make our country attractive enough for people to also bring in foreign exchange. If we look into invest in our NGX and different parts of our economy.
Great stuff. Bitt Incorporated, the Naira, the whole talk around the digital currency. This thing you have an article today about some of the criteria that the central bank looked at before involving the company. What do you make of the criteria that was used, I guess, to get them to partner the central bank for the Naira?
I think it was the criteria. The criteria were great. I mean, you look at it. They had about 7. They had technology control and ownership. They had ease of adoption. They had security platform security rather. You have interoperability. You have implementation exercise. And then any company, any decision maker, when you're making a decision, it's very important that you have your criteria. That is a basis for making your decision. And then they came out with a criteria that makes a whole lot of sense. And then from the criteria, even after using the criteria to judge and make a selection, they had 2 companies, I think G+D or something, and Bitt. And they still had a sandbox evaluation afterwards. And then you can tell from their process that for them, there was a lot of emphasis on who had deployed or who had worked on a project that was already live or was in pilot stage, which is not bad, especially when you consider that timeline was also a criteria. So you need someone that has done it before if you don't have a lot of time on your hands for you to develop something. So I think that the criteria was great. And then Bitt is a company that is internationally recognized. You have board members that sit on the board of OECD, World Economic Forums, who are very well versed and have vast experience in leveraging on blockchain to build frameworks for central banks around the world. So I think that they actually made a good selection. 1
minute to go, very quickly. The argument that we have local content laws. So could the central bank not have engaged a local fintech company to get this done?
Well, when you look at our fintech space, we have very, very great developers and we have great fintech companies arising every day in Nigeria. But the thing is, when you go back to the criteria, the central bank had a criteria. They wanted people that had experience. And Bitt had that experience. Our local fintech developers don't seem to have that experience. And maybe they have some sort of knowledge, but they did not communicate that properly to the central bank. So in this case, we can't exactly fault the central bank for selecting a foreign company for this project. Very quickly, Mayor Kyari's comments on NNPC charging the government fees going forward in 6 months. Well, when you say charging the government fee, what fees? Well, not clear. I don't think it was clear as to which particular fees he was referring to. So we need more information on that. Mayowa Ige, Financial Derivatives Company Limited, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you coming.